Rogue Publishing Partners is an innovative solution for publishing. We have publishing, distribution, marketing, design, and editing services all under one roof to help get your book to the world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rogue Publishing Partners podcast and also the Strategic Advisor Board podcast. I'm Shelby Jo Long. I'm CEO of Rogue Publishing Partners, and I'm also Senior Vice President of the Strategic Advisor Board. And this week, we have an opportunity to hear from the directors of Rogue Publishing Partners about how a team, a trusted team, can really help you develop the book that is great for your business and to get all that content together. I'm excited to experience this roundtable again because it's my trusted partners on this board, but also because I worked with everybody on this board in some sort of project. And to my publisher Susie, and my book designer Michelle, and Jennifer, who's my editor, is not here, but they have all been a part of the team that helped build my book and to build that process to have my book come out in just the next couple of weeks. And I'm very excited about that. The product is great. The process has been great, but I think it's really helpful to learn about that and to discuss how a team approach in your writing is something that's really important. Now, just a personal story about myself. I am an academic. I am a professor of communication, and all of the writing I have done before I started my entrepreneurship journey has been alone. It's been by me and my research, and I submit it to the journal and I submit it to wherever it is to be published, and I do that all myself. But in this process of writing my own book and the story of my own story and my own entrepreneurship journey, engaging other people in that process has been so fulfilling. I feel that I have a much better product out of it. And I feel it's so great to have those different eyes on my project to understand my message and to also give me feedback about how I deliver my message. So it's been a very exciting experience for me, and I'm excited for the final product to come out. And we'll hear from Michelle and Susie later in the podcast. But I wanted to start with our VP of Publishing in Rogue Publishing Partners, who has his own publishing team, Chris O'Byrne. Chris, if you can introduce yourself and talk about having a team in your publishing community is so important.
Yeah, my name is Chris O'Byrne with jetlaunch.net and also part of Rogue Publishing Partners and Strategic Advisor Board. The idea of having a team that you can trust, it's fairly easy to put a team together. You can go onto Fiverr, you can just pick randomly people who can do editing or design or say they do, and you can find those people fairly easily. The real problem is, can you trust that team that you put together? And can you trust yourself to put together a team based on something, publishing, design, editing, that you know really very little about? And so the idea is you want to be able to trust whoever it is that you bring on board to help you, because your book is a big deal. It's your baby. It's going to, establish your authority. It's going to help your business grow. You have all these dreams and hopes for your babies and for your book. And so you want to be able to trust whoever it is you bring on board. As an example, we frequently, I'm just going to pick one example. We frequently get people who come to us and say, oh, do you work with other covers? Meaning we had a cover designed by somebody else. Can you use that cover and design the rest of the book for us and do the publishing? And we say, well, certainly, I'd like to look at that file first just to make sure it's okay. And almost every time somebody comes to us, let's assume that the design is good to begin with, because that's a whole nother ball game, is actually having a good cover design, for example. But let's say that the cover looks beautiful. You found a cover and you've done the work and you've asked people and it looks great, but then everything falls apart. And so what we usually get at that point is a cover that isn't designed correctly. It's either not the right size or it doesn't have the right specifications. It can get very technical for a book cover. You need to know about, bleed and color space and all sorts of different little technical aspects that go into that design. And what we frequently get is this cover image comes in and they're like, well, I've got this beautiful JPEG. Will this work? And usually it doesn't, because a book cover isn't just a design. Book cover there's plenty of design involved, and that's very important for establishing your authority, building your business, all those dreams you have for your book. The cover is, the face of your baby. But what happens is it comes in and it doesn't work for a book cover. You just have a picture that looks nice, but a book cover is so much more. It has to work with the interior design. It has to work with, you have to have different formats for paperback or hardback or ebook or audiobook. And even within those, depending on where you are publishing to, you're going to have to know exactly the right specs. And so that is why you want to have a team that you could trust. You want to have designers and people who understand book publishing and book design, actually give you what you need so that your baby comes out looking intelligent and not sitting in the corner with a dunce cap on. So make sure you really have a solid team that you can trust. And if you don't, well, then you go to some place or somebody that you do trust, like Rogue Publishing Partners, where even if we're not able to provide exactly what you need, we're going to give you the advice you need. And we have quite a few partners that we work with. So really there's no chance that you're going to come to us and not find the trusted team that you need. And I can't emphasize how important it is to pick a good team that you absolutely trust and can rely on.
Absolutely. Such a good point. We are all a team here together to help authors achieve what they want to achieve. And we vet all of our partners that are involved with us, in addition to all of the directors that all work together. So it just makes such a difference. So thank you, Chris, for that.
Yeah.
Let's talk to VP of Copywriting and Ghostwriting, Scott Seary. Scott, can you tell us about your business and what you understand about team in the process of writing?
Yep. So I'm Scott Seary. My business is Seary Content Development. I do all sorts of copywriting and ghostwriting for the books. So those people that have a great story, but they don't have time or they don't have the ability to lay it out in a good storytelling fashion, I take their story and I turn it into a book for them. Teams for me function two different ways. I have kind of a sales team, and then I have a team that does basically all the other stuff on top of writing the book or even some of the copy that I do for businesses. The sales aspect of it is, when I first started out, I didn't know anything about sales. I wasn't outgoing. I wasn't able to get out there and market myself. Luckily, I had a handful of clients that just kind of kept me going for a little while until I got involved with these networking groups that were all designed around being your sales team for you. And so they would make the introductions. Once I was in front of somebody, I could show them, here's what you need, here's what I offer, and here's how we work together. But finding those people, I had no clue how to do it. So I relied heavily on teams for that aspect. As far as the writing part of it, I can do start to finish, like on a blog or some sort of copy, but there are times where I've written an article for a magazine and I have read it 6 or 7 times, and then I send it off to the editor and they find a spelling error that somehow I missed every single time I read it. And so just those fresh eyes and those different team members change that story from a good story to a great story by just tweaking little things here and there. And then as far as the rest of the teams, I can do very simple graphic design stuff, and it takes me hours to do it. Whereas if I sent it over to an actual graphic designer, they'd have it done in 15 minutes and be far better than anything I could ever do. And so all those things where I don't want to have to learn graphic design, I don't want to have to learn publishing, I don't want to have to learn all the marketing aspects. I can write, and I can write well. So I want to do that better, and then rely on the team to take care of the rest of everything.
Absolutely. Such an important point about a team is that we all have our own roles and specialties, and we can perform those at our best ability. And we should rely on others to do their best ability, like your point about designing. And both Scott and Chris talked about design. And so speaking of design, we're going to talk to our VP of Design, Michelle White, about the importance of teams in this whole book publishing. Michelle?
Hi, she said I'm Michelle White. I'm a book designer with MMW Books, and I work with authors and independent publishers on their book covers, the interior design, and their ebooks. I can't tell you what a huge difference it makes to be working with a team of people that I know, for editors and production and like the production manager that you'll hear about from Susie, somebody that coordinates everything so it all gets done at the right time. It saves a lot of time if I know the people that I'm working with. If I know the editor, I can just go directly to them if I have a question. A lot of times if it gets into the weeds technically, and if I have to explain this to the author, and then the author has to go to her editor and explain it and ask them questions, it just ends up to be, it takes a whole lot of more time. And it's so much more seamless if I can go directly to, a lot of times like they came to me with the cover designed already, and they want me to do the interior. So if there's an issue with the cover, or if I need a piece of that to use on the interior, maybe a little part of the image or something, if I can go directly to the designer, we speak the same language. There's no need for the author to have to learn all these details. It's just wasting their time. It's much more seamless if we can just get it done. So staying on schedule and communication, those are some of the biggest things. And like for the design itself also, the editor knows the story better than I do. Most of the time I don't read the book, and most designers don't, because it takes so much more time. It would cost more. So being able to talk with the editor and brainstorm about possible imagery for the cover, along with the author. As a team, we can always come up with a better image for it, because I could be way off base because I'm reading just a synopsis. So yeah, the editor knows a lot more about it, and the author, of course, and the production manager too. So we can always come up with a better product that way. I mean, I'll work with the author directly and have them be the go-between if that's how they want it to be. But I'll always prefer to work with people that I know, or maybe if I'm working with a new author, I can get to know other editors and designers and expand my repertoire of people that I know, which is what Rogue Publishing is all about. So that, we got together all these experts, and we can go to whoever we need for, whichever aspects of a project we need help with or can recommend to our clients.
Absolutely. Another great point about Rogue Publishing being a place where we can find whatever the author needs and finding that match, but just having that trust and being able to do your work more efficiently and to better serve the clients. I think all of those pieces are so important in having a team, is that we have a process, we have a formula, how the people you work with do their work. So you're able to do your work more efficiently and better for the client. All of those things are so important. So thank you, Michelle. Now we get to finally hear from our VP of Publishing and our COO, Susie Schaefer. Susie, can you talk to us about teams and how that makes a difference within your work as a book coach and program director?
Absolutely. Thanks, Shelby. So my name's Susie Schaefer. My business is Finish the Book Publishing. I'm also obviously with Rogue as one of the directors, and also on the SAB, the Strategic Advisor Board platform as well. So one of the things that always stands out to me is that an author many times does not know what their options are. So by working with someone who has the ability to create a team, and that's really what I do, is I create the team for the author, and then I manage the project for them, so that they're not having to go back and forth and do all the minutia. That's my job, and that's really my job, to keep everybody on timeline and on budget and on track, and make sure that the project continues to move forward. And I help create that team. And many times an author doesn't even understand what their options are with publishing. Do they want to publish traditionally? Do they want to use a small press? Do they want to use independent, or what we normally call self-publishing through print-on-demand platforms? Which platforms do they want to use? So there's so many different decisions that need to be made by the author, that a lot of times they need guidance in understanding what are those options and what are we talking about when we say print on demand. The lingo can trip people up in a big way, and understanding the lingo in the publishing industry is paramount to being successful and having good communication with your team. So I think that's really important for the author, because having someone to guide you through the process and use a step-by-step process that they've used hundreds of times and is proven to work is the best way to keep your book project moving forward and get you published faster, rather than taking 2 or 3 years to actually get it done. That's one of the great things about the Rogue platform too, I should mention, is that if somebody comes to the platform, they can browse around and figure out, ooh, do I want to pick and choose my own people? Which does take time to do that, and it's perfectly acceptable. Or do I want someone to just say, let me put the team together for you and manage that for you? So really the author has options. And I think that it's always nice to have those options. So for example, when I'm working with an author, I'm going to go ahead and check with my team of editors, assuming that we have a first draft on the manuscript. I'm going to check with my team of editors and say, okay, who is available within the next couple of weeks? And from those that are available, I'm already understanding who the author is, what their book is about, and I'm going to introduce them to 2 editors that I think would be a good fit, and then they get to make the choice. But even just narrowing it down for the author that way has saved them hours and hours of time interviewing and trying to vet these editors themselves to figure out, is this person a good fit for me? And it's really interesting. I play a little game in my head when I introduce an author to editors. Is I usually kind of know which one they're going to go with, but no, understanding that either editor would be a great fit for this author. And I always like to see if they come back and they have the same opinion as I do. I've actually found that sometimes they have a tough decision. And so we talk about, what are your options? And I recently, with another author, we talked about who was a good fit for this book and who's going to be a good fit for the next book. So it's really about thinking about the bigger picture, as far as, okay, here's your first book. How is that going to fit in? How does that work with everything? Let me get the right people on the team to try and help you with that, so that you know that you're trusting these people, because literally I'm responsible for the team, in that situation, but also I'm the communication that happens, so that, for example, even on your project, Shelby, Michelle, even though there is a lot of communication between everybody on your team, Michelle can actually ask me random questions and doesn't have to bother you as the author. So it's a really great way to manage the project on behalf of the author by having a strong team and making sure that communication is really solid. This is one of the things I absolutely love about Rogue, and part of the reason why we started this whole platform was because we wanted to create that cohesiveness within partners that were already starting to work together, and then find more people who wanted to be a part of this community to support authors. So I think that's pretty much it for me, as far as why the team's important. But I would say if you don't have people in place, check out the Rogue platform. It has a lot of options for you, whether you want to pick and choose and use the a la carte method, or whether you need someone to actually manage your project from start to finish. And of course, too, some authors just say, hey, here's my book, do it for me. And we have that as an option too. So it really is just simplifying, instead of an author having to go to multiple websites and multiple locations and try and interview and vet these people on their own. It is really, truly one-stop shopping for custom solutions for authors.
Absolutely. Thank you, Susie. There's so much important work in vetting your team and also understanding the possibilities of your team. And we are a group of experts that are together to help create the best solutions for our clients, because as Chris stated earlier, this is your baby and it's connected to your business. And we are all, as a team, invested in that business. And we want you to have the best message. So thank you again to the Rogue directors for sharing your expertise and talking about how important it is to have a team in your publishing network to help you publish your book. And we will see you next time when we talk to the Rogue directors about what a book can do for your business and how the book publishing process can really make a difference with Rogue Publishing Partners. We'll see you next time.
Rogue Publishing Partners helps you get your message to the world with all the publishing services you need in one space. Visit roguepublishingpartners.com to discover more.